Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the invisible foundation that holds up our biggest, most ambitious projects. And no, I'm not talking about concrete or steel. I'm talking about something way more critical in our digital world: information. So let's kick things off with a question that I'm sure has crossed your mind. I mean, we've all seen the headlines, right? A brand new skyscraper, a massive public transit line, a cutting-edge stadium. They all seem to have one thing in common. They're delivered late, and they cost millions, sometimes billions more than anyone planned. So what is going on here? Why does this happen over and over again?
Well, the thing is, the problem isn't a lack of information. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a complete mess of it. You've got disconnected spreadsheets over here, conflicting architectural drawings over there, and a pile of outdated reports somewhere else. And this is information chaos. It leads to terrible productivity and all these hidden costs. But you know what the worst part is? It forces really smart people to make huge, multi-million-dollar decisions based on gut feelings, on intuition, instead of on solid, reliable evidence.
And that reliance on guesswork, well, it isn't just a small hiccup. It's a massive industry-wide issue. We're talking about a billion-dollar problem, literally. The cost of all this inefficiency is staggering on a global scale, and it's holding us back from building the future we need. So, okay, how do we possibly fix this? Let's break it down by looking at the old way versus a new way. The old way, that's the tangled mess we just talked about. Information is all over the place, scattered across different teams, and the risk of someone using the wrong version of a file is incredibly high. But the new way, the ISO 19650 way, is all about creating a single source of truth, a place where information is structured, it makes sense, and risk is managed right from the get-go.
To bring order to that chaos, the world realized it needed a common language, a single global blueprint for how we handle information when we design, build, and operate things.
And that blueprint, it's all about information management. But, and this is really important, this isn't about just generating more information. The whole point is to get just the right amount of information at exactly the right time to the right people so they can make the right call. No more and no less. After some pioneering work in the UK showed just how powerful this structured approach was, it became crystal clear that we needed a global standard. And that standard is ISO 19650. It's basically a set of international rules that creates one unified framework for managing information across the entire life of anything we build.
Now, crucially, this isn't just about buying some new fancy software. The standard is built on 3 pillars that have to work together. You need the right people with the right skills, you need a clear, repeatable process for them to follow, and then you bring in the technology that supports both of those things. It's that harmony between the 3 that really unlocks the magic.
So what does this playbook actually look like in the real world? Let's get into the core ideas that make it so effective. The golden rule here is so simple, yet so powerful. Always start with why. Instead of just asking teams for tons of data, this process forces you to define your purpose first. It all flows down. You start at the top with your organizational goals. Then, you figure out what information you need from a specific project or asset to meet those goals. And only then do you create specific information requests for your teams. It guarantees that every single piece of data you ask for has a clear, traceable reason for existing. All of this carefully planned information lives in something called a Common Data Environment, or a CDE. The easiest way to think about it is like a project's central, super secure digital library. But it's more than just storage. It's a living workflow designed to totally eliminate that chaos we talked about. No more digging through emails wondering if you have the latest drawing. The CDE makes sure there is one and only one source of trustworthy information for everybody on the team. And, just like on a great sports team, everyone has a very clear role to play. You have the appointing party, that's the client, who defines what they need. Then they pick a lead appointed party, who's like the team captain, coordinating how all the information is delivered. And that lead party brings in the other appointed parties, the players who actually create the information. It bakes responsibility and accountability right into the project's DNA from day one. Okay, this all sounds really logical in theory. But what about the payoff? What's the bottom line?
Why should any organization go through the effort to make this change?
So let's talk about what it actually takes to put this into practice. You might assume the biggest line item is going to be some expensive new software, right? Or maybe a bunch of new hardware. But the reality is actually pretty surprising. Just look at this chart. The biggest slice, by a long shot, is the human effort. It's the time and brain power it takes to get the information requirements right from the very beginning.
So what this tells us is that the technology is really just the container. The real value and the real investment is in the thinking. It's the strategic planning that goes into defining what information you actually need and why you need it. And it's that upfront work that pays off in a huge way down the road.
And those payoffs, they're enormous. That investment in thinking upfront leads directly to better, evidence-based decisions. It means way less waste and rework on the construction site. It dramatically lowers risk and gives clients real peace of mind. It builds trust and collaboration. And, maybe most excitingly, it creates the perfect, structured data foundation you need for the next big thing, digital twin. And that right there brings us to the future, because this isn't really about just one project or one building anymore. This is about completely transforming how we create and manage our entire built environment. The reality is, this shift isn't optional anymore. As the source material says so perfectly, doing this is now a fundamental part of delivering world-class social and economic infrastructure. So really, the question for any organization isn't if they should do this, but how fast can they get it done? And that leaves us with one final, kind of mind-blowing thought. Once we get really good at this for a single building, creating a living, breathing digital twin that we can learn from and optimize, what comes next? A digital twin of an entire university campus? A digital city? What about a digital twin of an entire nation? The potential is absolutely immense, and we are just getting started.